Hey guys, Snow Residence here, back with another Ableton Live tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get the chord progression or the melody of a particular song you might like. Usually this applies to house music, so today we're going to be using Nicky Romero's Toulouse. Since it's a good example, since Ableton Live 9 actually processed it very well compared to the other songs. So we're just going to drag and drop it to an audio track. We're going to unwarp this and we're just going to crop out the part that we want to extract the melody from, which is basically the organ sounding thing, which is actually a guitar that is in Logic that Nicky Romero add lots of distortion on. So we're just gonna play here. We want that sound there. Perfect. So we just crop that. So if we right click, then you can see these three new settings here, which came with Ableton Live 9. Convert harmony to new MIDI track, convert the melody to new MIDI track, and convert drums to new MIDI track. So this isn't actually a drum sample. I don't know what it does if you actually convert it from a synthesized sound to drum MIDI track, but we're not going to be using this. Maybe you guys can experiment on it. So convert harmony to new MIDI track is basically all the bass lines, the chord progression into one nutshell of a MIDI track, which the preset is going to be grand piano, and convert melody into new MIDI track is basically the melody of a song. So we're just going to convert harmony to new MIDI track. One thing I like to talk about, guys, is you want to be very particular in the song that you're going to be using it on, since this doesn't actually work on 100% of the songs. You want to be cropping out only the parts where the main synth is playing. Maybe if there's some drums in the background, it's okay, but you want to be cropping like in Toulouse here, where it's only the main synth playing. That's about it. And this doesn't actually work in much dubstep, since Ableton Live now will be able to process those growls. I mean, it might process the notes, but it won't actually process the modulation. So you might have a hard time with that. So this only works usually in the chord progressions of house music, or maybe in the maybe piano solos or like acoustics. If you want, actually, you can put it here. But that's pretty much about it. You can actually load in some intense music to it. I got some examples here for later. I already loaded it, so you don't have to wait intensely, and you might like die waiting for me. I don't want the audience to do that, so I just loaded two tracks here from Avicii and a bonus track down here. If you can guess what it is, you gotta go soft for me. So basically, it doesn't take this long. It's just my laptop's overheating. I've been using it for 12 hours straight, so it doesn't really take this long. Ableton Live 9, it's usually pretty quick when I used it the first time. Just gonna wait for it to load here. As I said again, you don't want to be using this dubstep stuff on here, since it doesn't really process the melody. Maybe if you want, if there's a part in the dubstep track that you only want to process, like the intro where you want the chords or the melody of it, then you might actually do that. But as for the drop, it won't work. I mean, it'd be pretty cool if Ableton Live 9 would be able to process the drop and copy each modulation, but sadly it can't. Don't let the machine do the work, you have to do it yourself. So basically, this is a harmony track, harmony to MIDI here from the audio track, like Romero, Toulouse. So the preset is always a grand piano. Here, grand piano. So it's always a grand piano, as I said. You get settings here, grand piano, EQ8, compressor, reverb. That's basically the default. I don't know how you can change it, but maybe you guys can change. I don't know, I don't think so. So basically, this is the chord progression here that Ableton Live 9 scanned. What I like to say is, let's just play first. So as you can pretty much hear, there's some wrong notes here. What you can do, and what I advise you to do if you want to get the exact same sound, is you have to listen to it by ear. You can't let the machine do all the work. Copy. Maybe you can research the keynote or the bass key, or like what keys it played in, and you can pretty much delete those keys that doesn't belong here. Maybe you could delete this spot here, this spot here, and you can edit these. So that's basically it. Convert the harmony. Let's listen to it one more time. So one thing I like to talk about is if you highlight all of these, turn it off, and if you right click and you quantize it, sometimes it actually screws up, sometimes it doesn't, since it depends on the BPM. If you're in the exact right BPM, then it should work. Quantize settings and you put it 132, then it should work. If 1/8, usually screws up. See how it's really groovy and pretty slow, which sounds pretty good. But if you want to get the exact sound, usually you'd like to do is you quantize setting 132. It usually fixes it. So that sounds pretty cool, so we're gonna be moving on to converting the melody, which is actually the main melody of the entire song. No chord progression. Basically, this is the entire melody the song revolves around on. So that's it. You might want to use these new features in Ableton Live 9. You might want to check it out. Get Ableton Live 9 if you don't. It's pretty cool. So actually loaded a bonus track here. You still have time to guess what it is. If you can, then I'll congratulate you myself. You messaged me if you did, and you still have time for guessing. One thing I like to talk about as well is sometimes this usually works best. For example, like the main synth is playing, as I said earlier. For example, this doesn't actually work really great if you're only using the bass synth. For example, in Swedish House Mafia 1, where in the first part it's like the kick turns into a bass line. It's only the bass line playing. I actually tried that, and it doesn't sound pretty good if you only crop out the part where the bass line is only playing. For me, there should actually be a synth on top of that bass line for Ableton Live 9 to process. I actually removed it since it sounds pretty terrible. You guys can experiment yourself if you want. Yeah, experiment. You can go on, copy Swedish House Mafia 1, put it in an audio track, and convert it to melody, or the harmony of it to put it into MIDI track. The audio put into MIDI track, and see what you get. You need to tweak some stuff, lots of stuff there actually. I'd like to again, tips here. You like to convert if you have some notes here playing in the harmony, then you want to get the keynote of that and just pretty much deduct all those wrong notes in there, since there are actually some wrong notes in there. So that's pretty much everything. This is basically how to get the melody of a song, or the harmony, the chord progression. This does not work 100% of the time. So as I said, you have to do some work yourself. Don't rely on the machine. I said that 3 times already, but I really stress it out. People usually get bummed if they don't get the results they want. Well, it's a touch clip, guys. I mean, you pretty much didn't do anything to it, and music takes lots of hard work, so you can't blame the program for it. Ableton Live 9 has lots of pretty good additions on it. The Max for Live, yeah. So we're just gonna wait for it to load here. Take a minute. It's pretty slow. Again, it's pretty hot in here. Yeah. So here's what I said. So converting the harmony to MIDI, it's always going to be a grand piano. Where melody, it's always going to be an analog. So you can actually switch these sounds by dragging a plugin here. Maybe massive there. You can drag and drop it, but we're not going to be using that. So we're just going to be playing the melody. As you can see visually represented, there's some bass notes here, and then the synth notes. We're just going to play that in a bit. We're just going to solo this track here, play it. We're just going to look at it. So as you can see, there's some notes that are actually bass notes. So what you can do is actually, you can higher of these, put an octave, maybe it might fix it. Maybe another octave. So it actually pretty good. Maybe this is a wrong note or something. I don't know. Maybe you guys can experiment on it. Again, you right click quantize. Make sure in the 1/32 setting here, quantize here. So again, it's the main melody of the entire song. So we can actually delete all of these since we don't need it. Delete. And you can actually view these tracks here, which I prepared. There's still a bonus track here. You can still guess. So we have levels and silhouettes by Avicii. We're just gonna play it here, solo it. Oh, Harmonies track first. Really great banger there. Sounds pretty good. Avicii, well, pretty awesome guy. So here's the melody of it. The melody needs a lot of work on it. So as you can see, lots of work needs to be done here. Maybe you can shift these and octaves up. Maybe I had like a second note here, there. I don't know. But basically, this is it untouched. I didn't quantize it. I didn't prepare it. I just wanted to give you guys a basic perspective of what it is raw. So here's the harmony of it. Basically the chords, and it sounds pretty good compared to the melody. We're just gonna play it here. Oh, not the right one. So pretty spot on. You might want to delete those chords there. That doesn't play a role and actually destroys the song. You might want to Google the keynote which Avicii played levels in, and you just get those notes there that actually is wrong notes. So here's basically the song there. This bonus. Skrillex Scary Monster is a nice surprise. I really wanted to know how it would perform in dubstep tracks. So in case you did it already, good. But there's a bonus here. So that's the bonus. If you got it right, message me. I'll congratulate you. That's basically it. So next song, Silhouettes here. Already cropped it out for you, so you don't have to wait. That part there where it's only the synth playing, some white noise going on in the background, it's pretty fine. So we just want the synth playing. Again, I would like you all to, like, if you want to crop the melody, make sure there's no drums playing there. If there's drums, it's okay, but pretty much advisable to be using only the main synth there. The bass line is gonna have a little bit of problems here, but I already cropped it out in the melody here, so I didn't quantize anything. As I said, we're just gonna play it. So as you can see, lots of work to be done here. Maybe you can quantize it. Yep, quantize it. One thing I like to tell you about is if you get like if you're too lazy to actually if you think it's too wrong, then you can let Ableton Live 9 rescan it again, and then you'll have like a whole list of choices, and maybe you can pick the one which is actually closest, has the closest resemblance to the main track. So yeah, we're gonna play the harmony, which does a pretty good job compared to the melody. As I said, it's gonna be soloing this track here. There. Pretty good job here. Maybe we want to delete this small note here. Oh, I touched it. So basically, we're gonna give a representation of it without being quantized. So to give you a basic idea on what you have to deal with. So basically this is it. You might want to, if it was played in the key of C, which I doubt it was, then you might want to delete all those black notes. If played in the key of D, then you delete all those notes. As I said, it makes it a lot easier and really gives you a better foundation of it if you just delete those wrong notes and find the key note. So we're gonna be playing Skrillex Scary Notes bonus track here, some dubstep, the drop here. We're just gonna play it. Some bonus tracks for all of you if you were guessing how the dubstep was supposed to sound. So here it is. Good stuff, good stuff. I routed it all the way to the drop here just before the girl screams at this spot. So basically here's the melody of it. Sounds kind of like a broken piano, so we're just gonna play it here. Solo this track out. Here it is. So I told you nothing like we wanted, so I already gave you an example that dubstep doesn't actually work with these things if it's actually the bass modulation. The growls, it doesn't, Ableton Live 9 doesn't actually process it very well, but here is actually the harmony of it, the grand piano. This is actually analog, sorry. So here it is. We're just gonna play this, solo the track maybe, yep, and we're just gonna play it. I'm pretty impressed with this part here. It actually got the chords here pretty tight. Gave a basic foundation for it. The bass sounds here it actually is pretty close to exact. Actually, I think these are the actual chords. The actual notes actually being played. So I can see, you can imagine these parts like wow, 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 wow. So it's basically it here. Needs some work to be done, and these are basically the synths that are playing in the background, or Ableton Live 9 how it saw it. So that's basically it, guys. Send me messages, give me feedback. I'll try to answer all your questions if I can. Subscribe and listen to my music on SoundCloud in the link below. Share this to your fellow producer friends. Again, I really appreciate messages and stuff. So you can message me and then ask me questions and stuff, and I'll really appreciate it. I'll try to get back to you on it. See ya.